What is going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another War of the Visions video. Today we're tackling our girl Lucia, the best way to build her, the best vision cards, equipment options that you can have for your big damage dealing character for both PVE and PvP. So thank you guys for once again joining us here on the channel. If you want to see more stuff, obviously go ahead, hit that subscription button, as we're going to be doing more and more of these character guides. And thank you guys once again for this support via Patreon, as well as the YouTube channel membership option that you guys are going into. So hopefully we're having even more content for this game being poured out. You guys are going to have those pre-access to the videos for those extra people who do go out and support, as we like to release a video a day on average. And sometimes they record multiple in one day, and I just let them roll out there as a nice little bonus. So a lot of cool stuff to get into. Let's talk about our girl Lucia, the big damage dealing wind UR character. So what is good about Lucia? This is not a character review, this is a build guide, but she is very good at long range damage with her dual gunner and ranger subclass, as well as the ability to actually use store from monk. And then on top of that, she has a very powerful passive that is going to be used in pretty much every single time you build this character with tune up. This gives her not only 12% agility, but also is going to give her 40 defense penetration. This means you're going to be penetrating defense on your target, which is huge. That's a lot of the ways that people are actually going to be mitigating your damage when you're looking at opposing characters in PvP with their defense up buffs, their defense on their gear, etc, etc, etc. This makes you do a lot of bonus damage to those characters who actually have those high tiers of defense up. So let's talk about a build here for her real quick. This is going to be max level Lucia, and we're going to be going over a lot of the good stuff for her, the stuff that you're going to be using 9 times out of 10. So this is the build of Lucia. We have Ras Al Ghathi. Whatever equipment selection after the Ras Al Ghathi is going to be up to you. There's also other things other than the Ras Al Ghathi that you can use. We'll get into that as well. Her TMR here, a lot of you guys will actually have that eventually all on its own. This gives you the defense, agility, and evasion, as well as the limiter off buff, which will give you even more agility up increase, all the way up to 25% once you work on that. This is a lot of the most common piece of gear you guys are going to have in her TMR slot, but there are other options, and we're going to be going over that as well. For equipment, other than the actual equipment, as far as the Odin in the card, we have actually Odin here as her Esper, which is going to be by far in PvP her best Esper. This is simply because nothing is going to outdo the human killer, the 25% human killer that Odin does give you. There are other options to him, and we'll get into those as well. As far as the best card to have in your party for her, there's going to be 2, but the best one to be having on her is going to be the Gale Begetting Heavenly 4. This is going to be Tetra Sylphid here. This is because it gives you the accuracy up 15 for having it equipped, and it gives the wind party attack buff of 35 once it's maxed out. Very strong wind damage increase. She's a wind character. It works for everyone in your team, but primarily it's going to be used on Lucia, especially for these 3-man PvP teams, right? You have like a tank and like an off DPS and Lucia. You just want this somewhere in your team. And we'll talk about card selection options as well in the future. For support skills here, the main one you're always going to be using is Tune Up. If you want a more accuracy as well as more range, you can use Ranger Lore. If you want more damage, you can use Missile Mastery. So those are going to be the 2 other ones that you're going to be looking at. If you want more range, remember, Ranger Lore or more damage with Missile Mastery, you have to get in there, get in the fray a little bit closer, but you're always taking Tune Up for that extra agility as well as that defense penetration. So this is a huge thing, but let's talk about alternatives to this stuff here. So let's go over and let's look at Ras Al Ghathi. So should you go critical? Should you go aim? Should you go assault? This is going to be dependent on what else you're going to be putting on her, because remember guys, the highest stat on your gear is what takes precedence. So a critical Ras Al Ghathi gives you 13 crit hit rate. If you can get crit hit rate that's close to this from other sources, which is possible if you have those certain pieces of gear crafted, made, or you've gotten different TMRs, then you're not really going to be gaining a lot of extra crit hit rate. We'll get more into that as well as we go through all this gear. So if you have something that we're going to be going over that has a huge crit hit rate, or you may already have something in your mind that where you have a piece of gear with high crit hit rate, you're definitely not going to want to go critical Ras Al Ghathi. You're going to want to go assault. A lot of you guys out there are actually going to go assault. It's going to be a lot harder to actually max out that 207 attack. You may have to re-roll it a couple of times with the resmithing hammers, try it again, get a little bit lucky, and then use your actual attack hammers to try to max it out. But if you can gain the crit and the accuracy from other build options, whether it be your accessories or maybe some other pieces of gear that you have laying around, which we will talk about, then Assault is going to be the best thing for you there. Now, another option for a weapon other than the Ras Al Ghathi is actually going to be the Vega. So the reason you would make the Vega is if you want specifically the aim Vega for the 22 accuracy. A lot of you guys out there aren't really going to want to do this, but if you are specifically going to be using her to target very high evasion teams and you don't want to be using Sharpshoot, maybe you want to use something else like Barrage and just go for a super high accuracy build. You have 22 accuracy from the Vega. You put up her passive that gives her extra range in extra accuracy. That stacks on top of that. You to put on the Tetrasylphlid card on her, which gives her even more accuracy. You can get up to, I think it's like 69, 70 just raw accuracy, not even counting any sort of bonuses from having higher dex on her. So you can just start landing a bunch of attacks, put a luck card in your party, go hard, and just land everything on a lot of these more evasion-y team comps that we've seen around here without having to rely specifically on Sharpshoot. This allows you to do things like you store, right, in real-time PvP. You store and then just hit somebody really hard with her native double gunner skills. This allows you to do a lot of cool things. It's something that you guys might want to think about making if that sounds interesting to you there. But as far as any of the other types of Vega, Vital or Assault or Aim, don't make anything other than the Aim Vega here. The rest of it is just not worth it in comparison to what you can do with the Ras Al Ghathi, right? The Assault Vega is 149 attack. The Assault Ras Al Ghathi is 207 attack. Definitely something that you're going to be looking at is this big damaging attack there. So other stuff to be talking about is the accessory slot and the TMR slot specifically. A lot of the times you're going to be using an accessory TMR. We have the Bewitching Boots for her. These don't do a lot of stuff for her, but most notably we have the Limiter Off buff, which is going to increase her range by 1 for 3 turns. This is the best part about this TMR. The other part that's pretty good is the Agility 7, the HP and Defense 5. That doesn't really matter all that much. The Evade 10 is okay, but it's nothing super crazy. She's not going to be doing crazy dodge things, but you could use this 10 dodge and then maybe, you know, put some dodge on her build from a +4, +5 crafted ring like the Jeweled Ring or the Fairy Ring, etc. You can get a little bit of extra from the special bonus ability from having that weapon, that accessory +3, +4, +5. But the main thing here is the Limiter Off buff for the Agility buff, which helps her go a little bit faster, but also gives her that increased range so she doesn't have to get super close range, especially in PvP. Another option for you is actually Victory Ribbon from Frederica here. This is actually pretty powerful for her because, like we talked about with the Assault Vega, you can have the 12 accuracy and 12 crit from the Victory Ribbon right here for you. Now, this doesn't have agility, so you're going to want to wear another accessory, notably like the Hermes Sandals that has the agility for you, but you can get accessory and critical hit right here, and it also is going to give you 434 HP and allows you to also use Tri Protection to help out maybe your tank or your healer in PvP there. So let's talk about Victory Ribbon in combination with the beloved Hermes Sandals. So you can wear Victory Ribbon in the TMR slot, Hermes Sandals in the normal slot for where you put your either your piece of armor or your accessory, because you can wear 2 accessories, guys. You can do that, and you can wear like an evasion Hermes Sandals if that's what you want to roll there. So this is something that you can do. You can wear dodge Hermes Sandals, wear the Victory Ribbon. You get 12 evade, 6 agility, 12 accuracy, 12 crit. Put the Vega on, assault rolled, highest attack, and you have the crit, the dodge, and the accuracy all in your build there. It's an all well-rounded build, and then eventually, maybe one day, one dream, if you can craft additional Hermes Sandals, you can actually +1, +2, +3, +4 it, and it does get an additional 1, 2, 3, 5, and then eventually 10 evasion on there. So you could eventually one day, before we all fall away from being super old, because you need to get 63 Hermes Sandals recipes, you could get 22 dodge on a single piece of gear there. Now, other things you could wear in the accessory slot / the armor slot, we have Jeweled Ring in Sage's Hat. Sage's Hat, you'd be using an evasion Sage's Hat, try to make Lucia a little bit more survivable. That's not really her shtick though, but you could do that, put her in dual gunner, right? Give her 27 evasion total from the Sage's Hat, 19 from having it be dodge, and then you get an additional 8 at +5. So that's 27 there. And then remember, she does have smoke screen from her double gunner job. That's going to give her a lot of extra evasion right there for a couple of turns. I do believe it's 3 turns there. 30 more dodge with 20 defense for 3 turns. That's quite a long time there. So you could go that route as well. And then you also have the jeweled ring. If you are using her own TMR, this is something that you can use there. You can roll a jeweled ring, you can roll a critical for an extra 9 crit, you can roll aim for an extra 9 aim. This pairs really well with her TMR, in addition to using the Ras Al Ghathi, because remember, her TMR gives you the agility of 7, it gives you the 10 dodge. What you're not using though, and what you don't have, because using a critical, not a critical, but a assault Ras Al Ghathi, you don't have really the high aim, you don't have the high crit. So you can pick to get either 9 aim, 9 crit, and then if you +5 something like the jeweled ring or the fairy's ring, you're actually going to be getting bonus evasion rate. And this will stack with her TMR because this is the bonus passive effect. It's not actually a stat on the accessory itself, it's an ability. So your highest passive ability is going to stack with the 10 dodge on her TMR as well. So you can get up to 8 here and then 10 more on her TMR if you're someone that's using her TMR for that increased range, for that increased agility. So you can gain your aim and your crit and the dodge with the jeweled ring there. So all of those are very solid options for Lucia. It just kind of depends on what you want to do with her. If you wanted to hit really hard, you're looking at Ras Al Ghathi at assault mode. If you don't have any crit gear, you want to crit a little bit more, then maybe you'll use a crit Ras Al Ghathi. There's a lot of crit options though, right? There's crit Hermes sandals, there's crit fairy rings, crit jewel rings that you can wear, and there's also, right, Federica's TMR, the victory ribbon. So a lot of critical accessory options available for Lucia. So a lot of you guys out there are probably gonna be aiming for the assault Ras Al Ghathi, and then we talked about all the other options that you can do and use there. So very strong options for what you want to be doing with her. Now as far as espers go, Odin in PvP and against human targets specifically is just the best thing that you can do there, because he does have this human killer tree down here. In addition to the human killer, he's going to have evasion up to help you with that evasion build if that's what you're going for. He also has 7 accuracy, so he's got 7 evasion, 7 accuracy. You can go ahead and do that as well. In addition to that, you can go anti-missile Lucia, because he does also offer missile resistance. So if you are predicting a whole bunch of other missile damage dealers, right, Frederica's, Lucia's, you can try to build like a little bit more tanky Lucia and actually stick Odin on her and give her the missile resist, so in case she gets shot by a random AoE, barrage, or your tank loses threat for a turn, she might actually survive because of this missile resistance. Get 15 here, maybe have cleansing the mind in the party, and she's gonna be running around with a little bit of missile resistance that she shouldn't really have, and it might allow her to survive an attack or two that she really shouldn't be able to, and you're not really losing out on a whole bunch of stats here, because 25% is a huge bonus to your damage. In addition to 25% man-eater, you also are going to be getting the 7% attack there. But what if you don't have Odin? What's the second best esper in my opinion? This is going to be Tetracyclid. This is because of the you've heard it, you've seen it, the missile attack here. Now the missile attack is very strong, but it is not as good as Odin's 25% human killer against human targets, which is pretty much everything in PvP, and a lot of the targets in PvE as well are human, right? There are the random things, right, like wolves, etc., etc., but if you're looking for human targets, Odin will always do more. This is because the missile attack is a buff that is applied to the raw mod of her damage dealing skills. She has a lot of missile attack up as passives. She also has a lot of missile attack up as buffs, and adding a new multiplier like the human killer from Odin is going to give you way more damage than just adding more raw missile attack, which she already has a bunch of. This is because the human killer is basically just 25% bonus damage. This is not nearly 25% bonus damage at all. It varies from skill to skill, but it's nowhere ever going to be near 25% increased damage from Odin. Now, if you're using Odin on someone else, maybe you're doing a double DPS team, and you value maybe like the damage on Orlando or something more with Odin, because Odin has slash attack up and human killer, then you'll be using something like Tetracyclid there. If you're doing something like a double tank Lucia team or a tank healer Lucia team in PvP, go ahead, respec your Odin for human killer, and then do something else with it, maybe extra accuracy, evasion, and just let Lucia be your solo damage dealer and have fun with that. That's going to be her biggest damage esper there. But if you don't have either two of these, what is your third option? The third option actually would be, if you're looking at an SR Esper, we're going with Cactar. This is because he's got some interesting options here for your character. So Cactar is typically like a slower-ish magic Esper, but he does have human killer as well. So he has 15% human killer max, and then on top of that, he's got some interesting options. You can go and get lightning killer. So if you want to do as much damage as possible to people like Orlando, you can have human killer and lightning killer at the same time, and then you can spend the rest of your SP on your board as you acquire it. You can get bonus critical hit rate for yourself there. So you can get the human killer and the lightning killer. That's going to be huge for you, as well as the little bit of critical hit rate up. If you don't really care about the lightning killer though, you can also go ahead and get a little bit of earth resistance. But a lot of the times what you're going to be doing, guys, you're going to be going lightning killer, human killer, a little bit of crit. This is going to help you with the meta right now, right? Where you're going to have Mont. She's naturally good against Mont. You're going to have everyone who's human in PvP is human, so you're going to have the human killer, and then a lot of the popular types of enemies that you're fighting in the PvP mode right now. A lot of people have Orlando, and a lot of people also still have Frederica, and she's going to be good against both those characters doing bonus damage. So that's why he's a pretty good third option as an Esper for you guys. So let me know how you feel about Lucia down below in the comment section, whether you're going for Ras Al Ghazi, whether you're going to be doing Vega and some accuracy. She's got a lot of cool builds. We touched on a bunch of different stuff here. There's no one exact way to build her. There's ways to build her in certain situations, and that's what you're going to come across a lot in War of the Visions. It's the build you're using, the build that you're building is going to be based on not just what's best in a vacuum, but what you have planned for that character. You want to be anti-evasion teams, super high accuracy build with a little bit of damage and human killer. You're going to be hitting them with all of your hits, and they're going to be doing bonus damage still. Or you can do like the evasion build, or you can go ahead and do the crit accuracy all-around build with the assault Ras Al Ghazi. So thank you guys for spending a little bit of your time here once again today. Hopefully everything is doing well with you in real life, staying safe out there, taking care of your friends, family, and loved ones. Until then, guys, if you want to see more stuff, hit that subscription button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.